Hello, welcome to Local Edition. I'm Leslie Leyton. Well, the city of Brea is about to celebrate its centennial. It's going to look back on 100 years of progress and a look ahead at what is still to come. With us now is the mayor of Brea, Christine Marick, to inform us all about that. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So how does a city like Brea celebrate turning 100?
We have a full year of events planned. This was a great opportunity for us to go out to our community. So we actually have a host of people throughout the community who are volunteering on a committee to plan an entire year celebration. So we started out looking at maybe a weekend or a week of celebration, and now it's actually turned into events throughout 2017. So I'd love to share a few of them. I think some of your viewers might want to join in. Even if they're outside Brea, we have some great things.
Well, because it celebrates the county. You know, 100 years old, we've come so far.
Absolutely.
And it changed so much, and Brea really epitomizes the history of Orange County.
Over the last few decades, we've changed a lot in Brea, and we have some residents who've been with us for so many decades, and they're sharing all of the changes that they've seen with the 57 freeway coming through town. I mean, farmland turning into high school and our civic center. So there have been many changes in Brea, and you're absolutely right. It really is a snapshot of what's happened throughout the county.
So the way you're going to celebrate tells that story.
Absolutely. One of our great things to kick off is a community parade on February 18th, and we will have who knows how many people will be in the parade versus watching the parade. We're going to have, I know, a ton of community participation, and then it will be followed by a picnic at our sports park. And what's really neat about the picnic is that many of our local churches have joined in and will be offering food and games at 1917 prices, because that is the sort of our birthday was in 1917. So there's going to be a lot of neat things going on. We'll have some historic cars, in addition to the games and the food. And I think it's just going to be a great, fun family event.
And it's going to go on for a year because you can't celebrate 100 years in just one day.
That's what we found. That's exactly what we have found.
You know, a lot has changed over the years, and things continue to change in the city of Brea. A lot of growth in terms of development of homes, also more things to do with entertainment and more business opportunities.
That's right. We've had a couple of big new residential projects come online in the last few years, the Blackstone development, as well as La Floresta. And La Floresta is a great example. We have not only housing, a mix of single-family homes, condo townhomes, as well as apartments, but also a lot of retail. So we have our Whole Foods Market, we have a lot of specialty boutique type shops, and a few of them have yet to open, but they are close. We're hearing about a new coffee shop, Reborn Coffee. I don't know much about it, but I'm sure I'll be among the first to try it out. It's coffee is in my wheelhouse, and some Stitch and Feather, which is a women's boutique. So they should be fully leased and occupied in the next few months. So we're excited for that.
So in addition to the businesses, are you going to have a place for people to park their cars as a new structure going in?
We do. We have a new parking structure that is being built right now in downtown. It is our third parking structure, and we're looking for that completion in the end of 2017.
You know, cities always looking for a way to continue to have a healthy balance, and one way is the trails, hiking trails in your area.
We are very proud of a project, the Tracks at Brea, as we call it. We're converting former railroad line into basically a 4-mile linear park. So it will be a trail, but it will also be a park. So it's exciting. We've opened one segment, and we are under construction with other segments. We've used a lot of grant funding. So we are moving at the pace at which we can qualify for and gain grants. But we're getting there, and we also hope to open that trail by the end of 2017, fully east to west across Brea.
Take us back and describe Brea through the changes from the beginning. You were talking about a little bit at the beginning, we were talking about the centennial celebration, people reminiscing about before the 57 freeway. And how has Brea changed over the 100 years?
Well, I wasn't there, of course, but you know, when people tell me about the Brea that they grew up in, it was much smaller. I hear people talk about there were only 2 big intersections in town, and now, of course, we hear a lot about traffic, because as we've grown and as a county has grown, so has our commuter traffic. But when people look back on Brea, I think the things they remember are the things that we still value, which is that hometown feel. We feel like a small town, but we offer just a great, tremendous level of services like a big city. So the values have really remained the same over time, and that's probably the neatest thing that I've learned participating in the planning for our centennial, is the reason people originally came to Brea for the oil, of course, at the very beginning, but they stayed and kept their families there are really the same reasons that my family chose to stay in Brea when we decided to move there. So.
And you moved there as a young family, I heard from
Yes.
someone off, into the new kind of housing. I mean, Brea continues to stay on the forefront of offering the kinds of services that attract people in our current lifestyle.
That's right.
With some of the the residents on top and the business
We
district
do.
downstairs.
We have a great mix of housing from single family, and then we do have some of those live-work type units. And it's just neat because for different generations and people's different interests, we have, thankfully, all those different types of housing options.
Yeah, again, that balance is what makes it great to live somewhere when you have trails, open space, and you have variety of housing and a place to shop, a place easy to get your groceries. It sounds very simple, but it's very important.
That's absolutely right.
One of the things that people don't really think about, but it's so important, you have a lot of time to think about it when you're stuck in traffic on the 57. I bring this up because you were talking about the regional cooperation that is so important to keep things moving, to keep the roads flowing.
Yes, we do hear a lot about traffic and congestion, and we do work with regional partners, obviously with Caltrans and OCTA, but also our local neighbors. We're trying to synchronize our signals on as many of the thoroughfares as we can, for example, Imperial Highway or Kramer Boulevard, so we will work with our neighbors so that the traffic flows more smoothly. We are not able to reduce the amount of cars on the road as a city, one city alone, but we can do our best to try to improve the conditions. So the Lambert and the 57 interchange, for example, the city has been very diligent in setting aside funds to help improve that project, or improve that intersection, excuse me. It's a very large project, and it will really be something that will involve regional cooperation. We'd love to get even further funding, but we continue to set aside as we can and work with our partners to make that happen in the next few years.
You know, one of the things I hear over and over as I talk to mayors of different cities is their approach to looking at things differently, perhaps outsourcing and sharing some kinds of services. How has Brea changed or stayed the same in approaching the way things operate within the city?
We've, as all cities, have had to look more carefully at our expenses because our revenues are just not growing as quickly as our expenses are. So we have partnered with the city of Fullerton, our next door neighbor, and we share our command staff for our fire. We haven't merged our departments, but we share the costs of some of those sort of high-level positions, and that's worked out very well for us. And so we just recently took that to the next step. We formed a local JPA, and we don't yet know what services we will fold into that JPA, if any, but we're looking at things like street sweeping or potentially fire service down the line. But at the beginning, we're looking at things that we can do a little bit more easily that might involve contracting out for 2 cities as opposed to just 1.
Yeah, I hear over and over again, it's that flexibility and the imagination being used as far as approaching these issues.
We have to think a little more creatively. I think that's a good way to put it, that we have to look outside the box and be open to new ideas. We may not choose all of them, or we may try one and find that wasn't the best, but we're going to be more creative as we go forward.
What's at the top of your list moving forward into this next year after this centennial celebration?
Well, for us, and I think all cities, we're looking very much at pensions, the cost of pensions that will be weighing on all municipalities, and that's a big one.
That is a big one, and we're so glad you were here to bring us up to date on what's happening in the city of Brea. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Christine
I'm glad to
Marick,
be
for
here.
being here. And thank you for joining us. I'm Leslie Leyton.